Okay, in this equation I have 1/3 times q plus 3 equals 5. First question to ask yourself is, do I see parentheses? Yes, I do. And so I know I need to eliminate them by using the distributive property. I distribute the number right in front of the parentheses. So I'm going to distribute the 1/3. So I have 1/3 rainbow q. Well, that means 1/3 times q, which is 1/3 q. Then you have 1/3 rainbow 3. The rainbow again means multiplication because we're distributing. 1/3 times 3, that's positive 1. If you don't know what that is, you can maybe come over here to the side and do 1/3 times 3, which would be 3 over 1. And you could cross simplify, right? You could say 3 over 3, that's 1. And so basically you have 1 times 1, which is positive 1. Okay? This is equals 5. Okay? Now step 2, are there like terms? I see no like terms on the left side. I got a q term and a constant term. There's only one term over here, so I can't combine it with anything else. Step 3, is the variable on one side of the equation? I have a q on the left side. Is there a q on the right side? No, there's not. So I don't do step 3 either. It's already done for me. Q is on the left side, so step 4, I got to get all the other numbers on the opposite side of the variable. And so if q is on the left side, I got to move this plus 1 over here by using inverse operations. And so what would undo this addition? That would be subtraction. I would subtract 1 from both sides, draw the horizontal bar across the problem. 1 minus 1, they cancel, right? That's equal to 0. I'm left with 1/3 q on the left side. I bring it down. I bring my equal sign down. 5 minus 1 is 4. So I have 1/3 q equals 4. And so now, fifth and final step is to solve, which would either mean multiply or divide, depending on whatever inverse operation is needed. There are a couple different ways you could solve this. First way you could say is this. I know 1/3 times q is multiplication, and so to undo multiplication I would need to divide by that number in front of q, which would be 1/3. So I'm dividing both sides by 1/3. These 1/3 simplify to 1 times q, which is simply q. And so q would be equal to 4 divided by 1/3. Here I'm dividing fractions, and so I would use KFC. I would keep the top number, which is 4 or 4 over 1, and I would flip the bottom number to be not 1 over 3 but 3 over 1, and then I would change from division to multiplication. And so as you can see here, I have 4 times 3, which is 12. That's what q is equal to. Q is equal to 12. That's one way you could do it. You could divide by 1/3. But let me go back to this place. 1/3 q equals 4, which is what we had before we divided by 1/3. And let me show you another way. Another way to do this is to say, I know that dividing by 1/3 is the same thing as multiplying by 3. What if I were to do this? I multiply this side by 3 and this side by 3. So on the left side of the equation, if 3 is the same thing as 3 over 1, I would have 3 over 3, or I could say I cross simplify 3 over 3. This is 1. So you have 1 times 1q. 1 times 1q is 1q, or simply q. Q then would be equal to 4 times 3, which is 12, right? Which is the exact same thing that we got over here. And so the point that I want to make here is that dividing by 1/3 is the same exact thing as multiplying by 3. Multiplying by 3. Dividing by 1/3 is the same thing as multiplying by 3. Okay, one more example. That one had fractions in it. Now we'll do one with decimals. So I have negative 6.7f minus 5.6f equals negative 73.8. First question to ask myself is, do I see parentheses? No, I don't. So I don't do step 1. I don't need to eliminate the parentheses. Step 2, are there like terms? Look left. I see an f term and an f term. They have same variable f, same exponent 1. They have the same exponent. You may say, I don't see the exponent. Remember, when the exponent is not written, the exponent is 1. And so because these two terms are like terms, I can add them together. I can combine them. So I'm going to put them in the same shape to show that they're like terms. Now, aren't they both negative? This is a negative and this is a negative. And if I'm adding two negatives, I would add and keep the sign. So I know that whatever my f term is, it's going to be negative. So I would need to add their coefficients. 6.7 plus 5.6, you would get 12.3, right? So add and keep the sign, as well as the variable f, right? These are still f terms. So I added these like terms, bring my equal sign down. On the right side, I still have negative 73.8. Now, my variable is on one side of the equation. My numbers are on the other side. So the fifth and final step is to solve for f by using inverse operations. So since negative 12.3f means negative 12.3 times f, I would need to undo the multiplication by division. I would divide by negative 12.3 on both sides. So those negative 12.3 simplified to 1 times f, which is simply f. And so f equals a negative number divided by a negative number. And so I know my answer will be positive. Now I'm dividing decimals here, so I would do top number 73.8 divided by bottom number 12.3. Once I do that, I see I have a decimal outside the division bracket, so I would move it one place to the right. Of course, I do that with both decimals. And so my inside number is now 738. Outside number is now 123. So basically I ask myself, 123 times what would give me 738, or at least close to it. Okay, I'm going to say, what if I pick 6? Is 6 times 123 738, or close to it? And if you work it out, you would actually figure out that it is exactly 738. So of course your remainder would be 0. And so 73.8 divided by 12.3 is 6. F is equal to 6.